heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. Yeah. 9/11, it's a heist, stole my heart, gave me life. No, I'm right, baby. I don't give my type on, yeah. She 11 with the lights on, yeah. Bite my neck just like a python. Breathe it right into my lungs. I took a hit, it's a crib, she my medicine. Before it's all said and done, you precious for the neck that's gotta wake you up. I'm heading over to the spot, pick you up around 9. Meet me in the parking lot, never make it inside. We're getting out of here tonight. Yeah, we'll go anywhere you like. I'm breaking cop lights, baby, I'm racing. Cause you're the only music I'm facing. You gon' leave my heart sedated, yeah. She just got it, but she wanted. Fell from heaven, she a weapon when she comes to me. I find it comforting. Though I'm blowing, she got me freeze-frame. Buffering, yeah. I sold the plans for your demands. I need the spare cash to pay my rent. I'm suffering, still covered in break me loose. Stay good news, baby.
Anyone else smell toast, or is it just me? No, I think it's just me then. Wow, it's been a week, and
I smell walnuts.
Good. Those are good for your liver.
There's a fire down the street, so I smell a fire, but that's just where I live.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just live in hell.
Basically. Welcome back, everybody, to the BC Wrestle Pod, AEW, AEA, whatever we're calling this thing, weekly check-in on AEW's progress. Basically, I am JVL here with the professor, with our HR team of Adolfo and Just Alice, and with Mikey, all to go over last week's entirety of the AEW universe. I know that's kind of stealing from the other company, but still, as we jump into this week, which will be the go-home shows for All In. But this was the week before. It's a huge week on this one. Before we get anywhere else on this, thanks for joining us here on whatever social media platform you joined us, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram Live, usually through Adolfo's channel, and all those other great places. But we really appreciate you being here. If you're brought here by that algorithm, pay that blood sacrifice, give that subscribe thing there. Make sure you get the alert bell. And also drop us some comments. Let us know you're around. We actually like to put those up on screen, Mikey, because we like to have a lot of different people in joining our chat here. This was a week, folks. This was really both a tough one to get through, but also kind of like, okay, you're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall that you should have been doing weeks ago this week to see if it works before the go home shows in Cardiff. I don't know, like just before we jump into all the different things, do you feel like AEW has just been like holding on to this stuff for a while, or that they realize that they've come up against a wall and they've got to do something quickly?
I'm gonna say to me, it feels more like a writer like had this stuff like stuffed in the back pocket of his trapper keeper, and like he moved it from his desk and it fell, and he's like, "Oh snap!
I've had this whole time.
The whole time."
This was always the plan. I swear it was. Yeah. It could be. It doesn't come off as messy to me. It does come off a little rushed. Like, oh, we have all this time. We have all this time. Did we pull the trigger on any of this yet? No. Oh, when did you want to do that? Soon.
Less than.
Okay, the show's this weekend. Oh, I guess we should do that. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
I feel like it. Yeah. I feel like it was like, let's see who can actually fly internationally before we start doing stuff. Let's see who actually has a passport, so that way we don't run into what happened last year.
Does it change that much? Are these guys just committing felonies enough? Like every few weeks,
God forbid anyone gets injured. Like, we get an injury the week before, and then all of a sudden, all of our plans change again as we go into Cardiff. But I will say, yes, this did have the smell of a certain Canadian prog rock band to it this entire time. And
Sorry, I'm sorry. Let's get on with
it. I love it, but I will say that was not. There was one match like that really embodied this. Was the first match of Dynamite. We had Hikaru Shida taking on Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. Professor, I want to ask you this first. Didn't we just see Hikaru Shida literally a week ago go for the women's title on Dynamite? Like,
I thought so. Was I crazy? This happened, right?
Making her way through the titles as if she's gotten all these shots, whereas we have people that are surrounding it that probably have gotten 5 wins that could probably get this. Like, I love Hikaru Shida. I love seeing her being there. But why did we need to have her be the person Mercedes Moné had to run over now, if you're really building to that?
I don't know. I wonder
Anna
if
Jay is predisposed in stardom right now.
Okay, that's fair.
Getting her reps and being away from all the craziness with her boyfriend at the time. I mean, yeah, it can make sense, but
I think some of this too is showcasing that Camille's gonna kick you in the face and be the muscle, right? Like, we're trying to showcase that too. Like, look at who's helping to do all this other stuff. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I agree with you. It was like, didn't we just kind of see sort of this? I love seeing her here.
We did, yeah.
But it does sort of speak to more of the mismanagement of the women's division. What are we doing? How are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? Stuff. That's too bad.
I'm thinking if you're building up Camille as this big badass to be around there, don't you want Moné facing maybe some giants, some bigger wrestlers, like, a Nyla Rose?
Yeah.
Of sorts, like where like Camille actually has to showcase like, I am bigger than you and better than you?
Yes.
Short and to the point. Adolfo Alice, I know you probably didn't watch the match itself, but do you feel like using the same person in every title picture just because you're like circling around to get to a thing is worthwhile, or should they have done something different?
I've never really. Let me get my thoughts first.
This is actually one of the reasons I picked Hikaru Shida and Athena as my missed opportunity, right? Because they keep they're really not sure what to do with Hikaru Shida. She's wonderful. I love seeing her work. She's been really putting in the work for the spots, right? So she deserves like a title shot, a run, an established feud that's not just kind of running in circles. I didn't feel like this was well planned or well worked out. I do love seeing her, but I feel like this was. They were like, "Here, we'll give you something," and it was like, "This isn't okay." Thanks, I guess.
And what's tough with doing it with her is that she's really good.
Yeah.
So when she shows up,
really
it's kind of what you're speaking to, Alice, where it's sort of like, "Oh, you're here and you're awesome. Why aren't you using her this way?" Right? It sort of shows the mismanagement of putting whatever's going on. I will say my problem with this isn't necessarily the match, but the booking, sure, and what's going on. It's sort of the trope of the end. Now we've seen this at least twice a show, every show for the last 4 weeks of play the music, look up the ramp. I'm going to fight someone coming down the ramp. Oh no, they're behind me thing. They've done
Did you watch ROH this week? Did you know that they did it last week and the week before too? Like, this has been a thing?
Which one's ROH? Is that the indie one nobody likes?
Exactly right.
Sorry, Mikey.
Wow.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. They've done nothing to make us enjoy their product the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
It's
Mike is
tough,
so angry. Hopefully it's at ROH and not at me. It's a little
one
both.
of the
All right, that's fine. That's fair. It's
one of the things I want to ask
examination
about
day.
this match. One other thing about this match I want to ask though, is Mercedes Monet's finisher bad or absolutely terrible? Because it just looks ineffectual every time she does it.
I'm not sure what it is.
It's too much setup.
Absolutely terrible.
It's too much setup. Like, it takes way too long to set it up and execute it. I'm like, ma'am, just do something different.
I'm not sure what's the painful part of the finisher.
Actually having to take it look like it actually did something to you.
I know, because it's like, I'm a backpack. It's over. Like, there's nothing that happens that's like, you've destroyed them.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is I'm like, for me, it speaks to Mercedes Monet's character. How lazy can I be that I just let gravity do the work for me and I don't actually do anything to actually win matches?
Which is unfortunate, and I know we don't have time. We got lots of stuff to get to, and we've been this has been a thread with Mercedes for a while now. What are we doing? Who's coaching you up? What is your trajectory? What are you doing? Your best few weeks were the first 2 or 3, and they've just buried you. Mm-hmm. And this CEO thing, being a heel and being with the EVPs, has given her a little bit more power, a little bit more to do. We're a little bit more interested. Sure, she's still cutting kind of weaker promos. The booking's not helping. Sure, I don't know. She's had 1 or 2 matches that were really solid. There's been a few that were like, okay, you're getting back into it. It's not been a very strong AEW run for her, which is shocking because we all thought when she showed up, like, oh, she's going to clean house. The women's division is going to change. They're not going to waste our time. And we're kind of petering into the end of the summer, like, what? And now she has an enforcer out of nowhere. Like, but she, right. Which I don't know if that speaks to she wasn't doing enough on her own, or we need to do something else to create an angle for you. I don't know what happened.
Also, that this is basically Saraya 2.0. When she came in, supposedly all this is going to change, and then the same thing kind of happened. So
I like Saraya so much.
I just don't like that we had to feed Willow for her to get this title. That's the big downside to this whole entire thing.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if it's a big downside. It's one of the many downsides. But
we'll talk about that later.
with the roughness of what's going on, we look into our next match as Jay Lethal takes on Adam Page. This was brutal, is the word I would give. Lethal's taking some major bumps, including a discus lariat that I thought he actually broke his trachea on before the buckshot lariat. Adam Page showing a kind of a real undercurrent of anger here, and Jeff Jarrett's on the horizon at All In. Do we feel like Jarrett's the right person to be taking this much rage from him, or should it be directed somewhere else?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to go on the side that Jeff Jarrett is actually a good choice to feel this rage and this anger. We know Adam Page's ultimate end game, and that is Swerve. But we know that Swerve is, for all intents and purposes, untouchable, at least for right now, for Adam, for Hangman. So to me, Double J is that wrestler that because he's older and he's done enough and he's not really being utilized except for like broadcasting stuff right now. It's more believable for Hangman to be just taking everything out on Double J and company,
I guess so.
I can tell you one thing, at least from the social medias I've seen, that people are really enjoying this unhinged Adam Page. So,
yeah,
I don't hate serial killer Adam Page. I think I wonder how long we're going to go with just I'm angry, I want murder and death Adam Page. Like, how long is that going to run? Like, because at some point that's a little hollow and it doesn't give him anything to really do or push up against.
Right.
He did have that weird, awkward Ultimate Warrior promo last time where we were like, what are you even trying to say out loud? What? So I don't mind Jeff Jarrett kind of being the one getting destroyed for this. I'm glad Jeff Jarrett's getting work. I'm not a huge fan of all Jeff Jarrett matches. They only seem to work if they're concessions masters or they go out into the stands or whatever else. The question really is, like Adolfo was saying, who else? Who else is there to kind of tie in? If it's all about Swerve and they're just on two different trajectories right now, this is this plot line, this is this plot line. Are we just buying time with I'm a sociopath Adam Page? Is there someone else you can plug in there to kind of feel that? I don't know.
I mean, that's a booking podcast to go into, like, how you would do this differently. But I see what you mean with that, where, like, there really isn't a lot of people around that they've built up or at least have had on camera time to do this with. But a brutal match from him, and will he go more the sociopath? Will he go more Dexter, where he has like a justice instilled in him, where he starts to go after everybody that has wronged folks? Who knows? Could be fun. Unlike the sadness I felt inside watching Pac having to deliver all this stuff, like, it's okay that I'm not getting a Wembley shot. I'll get it all out. It'll be fine because I'll be in the building where I beat Kenny Omega. Why? Can you answer me this? Why? Of everybody they could be screwing over, why are they sticking Pac in this, like, inability to be used on the biggest stage when he has proven time and time again that he is a main event player?
I got nothing.
I don't know.
Go, Mikey, go.
This is the second year in the row that he's not going to be at Wembley, given last year he was injured and everything. But come on, man. Like, we could, I know Will is unfortunately the bigger card to play at Wembley because it's a bigger draw, but come on, man. It's like you could have had a triple threat. And this is what is crazy to me, the fact that you don't have Pac there. And as of right now, no Okada at Wembley either, which is nuts to me. I'm like, how do you not have like these two big international stars at like your biggest international show for AEW's mind-boggling to me.
Well, they've got to save it for All Out because obviously with 2 weeks in between, you can't use everybody for that show because then no one would tune into a show 2 weeks later. Weird that booking like that would actually be detrimental to your product. It's just strange.
All right.
I will say I'm excited for the two matches we have for All Out set, though.
Yeah. Well, I was also surprised that we're running back another match that's like becoming a Wembley staple because after this, we have Darby Allin getting attacked by Jack Perry and Tony Khan making it official. We're going to have a coffin match again at Wembley. And this time we don't have Sting to take a weird bump through it and get hit that way and Swerve to get his braid stuck in it so he actually didn't lose the coffin. It's going to be very strange. Do we think we need to see Darby Allin do his signature match again against Jack Perry? Is it a needed thing for this rivalry, or like it's just we needed to throw something on there so people will watch?
Is it a needed thing? No. Does it go with branding? Yes.
I would agree. I don't think I need it. I'm still having a hard time buying Jack Perry as I'm angry Jack Perry. Like
emo Jack Perry.
Yeah, I'm not digging
it's way more emo Jack Perry, isn't it? It's just weird. Edgelord, look at me. I'm gonna do it.
Yes, that's why it's not working for me. Edgelord, Lone Wolf, Angry White Man, not working for me.
And I'm not. I don't want to shit on him either. And he's far more talented than I am, and probably far more athletic than I am. And we talked about this with Hook too. He's just athletic in a different way, trying to act like the tough guy, and it doesn't come off the same. And in the beginning, there was a bit of an edge there that I thought he earned, and then he kind of huffed and puffed and talked his way out of it. And now I'm like, and that's unfortunate. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Coming right off the CM Punk stuff, this idea of I'm the scapegoat, I was done wrong, here's my chip. There's a little bit of I buy that. Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and then it turned into like, I'm gonna hang out with the rich kids because the rich kids like me.
Yes.
I was like, no, but that's not what you were.
But that could have worked if they hadn't let him talk. If he kept bringing up the fact like, I'm under a gag order, I can't do anything. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he let
I hate Tony Khan. I'm gonna break his neck. It's like, well,
yeah, no,
that's tough.
I want to move away from that though, because that is just setting up whatever we're going to get for Wembley there. And it's going to be a train wreck, as we all know, because the only match we all really care about is Mariah May versus Toni Storm. It's going to be what it's going to be. The promo we had back and forth, including going to Renee backstage with Mina afterward and bringing her into this whole thing. Do we see Mina being more involved in the match itself at Wembley? Do we see Mariah actually beating Toni now when there's a threat of a Jamie Hayter around the thing, and that could be a thing they want to keep it going for next? How do we see this falling out? Because these two are at a boiling point, as we saw her basically burn things alive. Like, what do we do?
Mina is going to be the deciding factor at Wembley. She's either going to help Toni or help Mariah, but Mina is going to be the catalyst of who retains or loses their title.
Right. So, but, and I don't mean to have everyone else do my homework for me. Waka waka.
But we are.
The side eye of Alice was perfect there.
Yeah. With Mina, as we we kind of figure Mina's gonna be doing something in that match, right? And then if Jamie Hayter shows up, are we now shoving too much into this storyline? Because like I don't, for me, like right now, the storyline with Toni and Mariah and then Mina coming in, like I feel like I want to see that end first, and I'm just worried that if Jamie Hayter shows up and like Romper stops everyone, it's going to.
So
go ahead.
So
go, Mikey.
I think there was some miscommunication. So Jamie was probably going to show up, but she's not going to show up in this match. She's going to show up for Britt, because she's not going to show up for Britt.
No. She's going to show up for Britt. She's not showing up for. There's a delay, Mikey. I said no to your first thing there. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. So if Jamie shows up, she's going to show up during the TBS Championship match for Britt, but not the AEW World Women's Championship. Because Jamie has no connection with Toni and Mariah in this whole storyline.
But the only thing I can see happening would be that she, like, whoever wins this match or whatever comes out of it, Jamie's then put on the screen, then looking at that or anything else. And do you in the booking hat go, okay, well, we know we still have to have Jamie get her win back against Toni because of what they did to her to write her off TV for 2 years. Do we then continue Toni's run because her character is still evolving? Or do we finally pull the trigger and give it to Mariah, who has been working so hard to get to this point and definitely has a lot of stuff behind her too?
I don't mind them giving it to Mariah if it's sort of Toni dropping the belt so Toni can take a little bit of time to be Toni. Because since she got the championship, she has been going 100 miles an hour with this, doing all of the work to hold it up, to kind of legitimize the belt itself, which has been brilliant. And she's done an incredible job. I will be so disappointed to see her drop it, but she absolutely can and should, and there's more to do if she does drop the title. I think what Adolfo is kind of speaking to is how AEW does things. Let's throw all the plot lines in at once. One of them's got it right. We'll see which one the audience kind of responds to. Oh, that one. But sometimes they pick the wrong one and it all goes awry. I think I could say this proudly. I think the women are smarter at their own creative and plotline and trajectory because they've had to work harder to get to where they're at. So I hope that they have a little bit of control over where that's going. I think others that are sort of like, yeah, okay, I'll feel it out, that get absorbed by creative and the AEW machine, kind of like Mercedes, have a harder time getting any momentum, any direction. You got to be really specific like Toni and Mariah May have been. So I mean, I can go either way.
Mm-hmm.
It's more interesting if Toni drops the title. It's going to hurt, and I flip a coin on my prediction. Although Mariah not getting the title is pretty cool too, but the buildup they've done and the style of the thing, like that's all beautiful. I'd hate to lose that.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be in with the amount of stuff that's on there. Yes, Alice.
I want a timeout between them. They fight till time. Mina comes up. They all share a cake and they're a happy family again. The end. Yay.
And there's no anger, there's no hatred, there's no whatever.
No anger, no hatred.
There's no side eye to the audience. Everything's fine.
Everything's
And then the
fine.
ring explodes.
It's a total Christmas episode. Dun, 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 and everything's fine.
No, I see it going a couple ways, but that's one that I just made up and wanted to say out loud.
I love that one. I absolutely love that one. That's the good ending you have to work very hard for and do a specific set of circumstances to make happen. It's not the usual.
What
ending.
What fantastic!
Like, come on, they all fought, and then the three of them kissed. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that's completely out of the realm of possibility.
There's got to be some black and white TMC movie where all three of the ingenues get along and walk out. There's got to be some hook that they're playing, right? We just got to figure out which one it is.
I'm just thinking about that scene from Mean Girls. I'm like, can we this together? You know?
Oh, God.
Perfect.
We don't even go here.
Mean Girls has been brought up in the last 2 weeks and to do with wrestling, and it's not this company, unfortunately. But we'll talk about that at another time. Okay. We jump into our three-way for the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet at All In between Kyle O'Reilly, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and Undisputed Kingdom's Roderick Strong. And teammates imploding, folks. Orange Cassidy ends up picking up the win on this one after schmoz, and more schmoz. Do we see the cracks in the conglomeration, that bedrock of AEW television? Or was this kind of like we just had to put something on to make sure somebody gets to go first?
I feel like we had to put something on. The conglomeration just started. Were we tearing it apart already?
Right. And, not to spoil things, but on Rampage and Collision, they still seemed cohesive. So, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. They still shook hands and Kyle applauded and fine. I didn't hate this. I don't want to talk shit. I will say I've seen them all kind of do better. They all worked really well here. It was a little, we've kind of seen them get the reps in the last few weeks over and over and over and over and over and over, which is fine. I'm not against that. This wasn't like a training match, like, hey, let's get these spots in over and over again. But it was there was a bit of a formula here. There was a bit of a bump set spike here. They were still hitting hard. They were still doing everything they had to do, but
it was also messy as hell.
When?
Just like, get with the involvement, which was bump set spike, get the Undisputed Kingdom involved on the outside. You've got Mark Briscoe coming down to pull them.
Oh, with the whole sure.
Yeah, it was a bit messy there, like in general, because you didn't need any of that for this. But I don't know.
And then we echo that on Collision, which we'll talk about when we get there.
Very true. Again, mess all over the place.
Here comes Mikey.
He's ready, man. He's ready for that. But we're moving right along on our stuff here because we then had Kazuchika Okada and Claudio having a face-to-face, and just have Okada do promos all day long. It's so much fun to watch him be that guy, just living it up and laughing at this point and having it fun. And wow. And then Claudio cannot deliver something back, even though the line could be good. It's just kind of like, oh, Claudio, just please be quiet.
Yeah, basically exactly what you said. I'm not sure if Claudio how
there's a reason that Sheamus did all the talking when him and Claudio were a tag team. I'm just putting it out there.
Or Zeb Coulter or anyone else.
I'm trying to pick my words to say this carefully because I don't want to sound insensitive at all.
Do it.
Sometimes, and my bilingual friends will understand, sometimes it matters who teaches you the English.
I mean, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
And I'm not judging him, and I'm sure he's learned a lot, and he's from Switzerland anyway, right? So I mean, he should speak the English. But there's just something underneath every now and then where I don't know if he's hearing it the way that he's saying it, which can come off funny or sometimes just comes off as, huh? What?
Well, when he's off the cuff, he's actually really good, as you watch one of the things he does.
Yes.
When he's scripted, he's terrible.
I think if he's reading cards and cue cards or trying to script, he's stuck because I think he's trying to put rhetoric together. I think that's more of what I'm trying to say. It's like he's trying to put the thought together as opposed to just speak from the heart type of thing.
Right.
Okada's figured it out because Okada just doesn't care.
he's on like a retirement tour, but not a retirement tour. He's just out there going, I'm sowing my oats finally. I'm no longer that rigid structure. I can be an idiot and have fun with it. And it's great.
Every now and then say, bitch, you're going to be great. Okay, bitch. It's perfect. Thank you.
And we're going to jump ahead again because we're jumping right to the professor's favorite part of the evening, Big Bill delivering part of a promo. And getting to put straight up Taz's ass.
He's so bad. It's so good.
John, tell me why Large William needs to be the face of that group now. Like Chris Jericho has lost all thing to himself, and it just needs to be Large William delivering every promo.
I think it should be Large William in sort of a looking for others. Hi, everyone. I have a tree. Does anyone want to learn anything? And like just be totally oblivious to the rest of the world around him, trying to get friends. I just like how bad he is, how good he is at being bad, whether it's true or not, whether he really thinks he's doing a good job or not. He just has that doe-eyed look every time. I think it's great.
Do we think Hook has a chance in hell of winning at Wembley?
Probably not.
Do we care? That's
the other part.
I will answer both questions for you. The first question, does Hook have a chance? Possibly. If we have a certain Samoan and a certain, the wrestlers show up to even the odds, because I can smell the learning tree a mile away coming through this match.
Sure.
Do I care about this? No.
Did anyone catch that Hook didn't have an eye patch last week?
Yep.
And now has an eye patch this week?
Yep.
That was the least of my worries. I'm like, someone take the mic from this Parappa the Rapper. Like, you failed your one job. You leave. Like, no, you fail.
Please
don't want to give him the mic.
Parappa the Rapper.
To the professor's credit, though, I feel that if Chris Jericho just handed this whole learning tree thing to Large William and Brian Keith, I think the two of them would actually do really well. And it would actually turn into a thing.
But Chris Jericho's a megalomaniac. He's an egomaniac. It's not going to happen.
I was just saying, just to paraphrase Alpha, if Chris Jericho went away and let the gimmick grow, it would be better. I just want to be clear on that.
Yes.
Yes. He could just go away.
He could just do year-round cruises now. Jericho cruises year-round.
Oh my gosh.
He could have mysteriously got lost because the Jared Cruise was happening this week. Shout out to Abaddon for singing Bodies Hit the Floor, by the way. I've watched that video. It was so good.
If you haven't found that, go online. It's on the Instagram stories right now. Abaddon, they sang Drowning Pool's Bodies, and it's amazing. It's so
that sounds awesome.
So good. And they are actually really good, too.
So we then got a championship match.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Set us up
ready.
For a championship match. I'm
ready.
You're so exasperated. We just started.
I know, but I can't. I don't know how to delve into this utter piece of garbage that we saw.
Tag me in. Tag me in.
Just go.
All right, tag me in, right?
Garbage. Wow.
Like Maxine Waters, I want to reclaim my time because, if this is what we were doing to lead into the match for Collision, there were better ways to do this. The Acclaim just give the Acclaim like a one-on-one match. These boys have earned it. Why did we got to stick FTR bald and FTR not apparently acquitted of aggravated assault into this whole entire storyline? It makes no sense. The Acclaimed, the Acclaimed is one of the few tag teams that have organically won the crowd over and are beloved by the fandom. And the fact that you can never give them a one-on-one match for these tag team championships, we got to throw in FTR and the Bucks into it because, oh my gosh, they bring money, is some bullshit. And I will not tolerate it.
But also, why do it this way where you have a disqualification loss just to set up the other? There are so many better ways if you wanted to set a triple threat with three teams, that had been done in the past, and setting them up to showcase things. This is just more because FTR are bad guys, but they're it doesn't make any sense with where they're going with it because they've been baby faces this entire time. There's been no semblance of them doing this. It's nonsensical. The work was fine, but it's nonsensical.
I agree. I have two thoughts here, and one I'll throw to the group. I think everybody wants to tread that stone cold good guy, bad guy line, right? And no one's figured out how to do it well. Like, we haven't had a lot of wrestlers be that sort of I'm the bad guy but you like me thing, and they all want to be the cool brooding anti-hero, whatever. But if you want to be the anti-hero, you blow it because now it's not genuine anymore. I have a bit of a conspiracy theory here, in the sense that at the other promotion, when you get over without creative, they try to bury you and they hate it. Whereas here, AEW tends to love, hey, you're over, we didn't even have to do anything. But when your time is up, when we want to go a different direction, when we need to do something else with you and the crowd's not following, we start meddling with your matches and giving you DQs and changing your booking and throw you from here to there to here to there so the fans can't find you, which I think is happening to the Acclaimed. They tried to pivot the Acclaimed a few different ways. They tried to turn them this way, that way. And now that it's not working, they're just throwing them up against the EVPs every few weeks. And now this weird DQ, whatever this mess is, just to try and make it muddy. It's odd.
It's a mess.
It's too much work.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of like you're overworking whatever you're trying to make, and it's just going to get doughy and gloopy and gluey, and it's not going to work. This isn't the cake you're trying to bake. This is just some sort of weird brownie that came out strange. But again, not worth my time. Mikey's right. I'd like my time back from this and just move on to next week and get this match out of the way. They still did good work though. That's what's hard. The match itself is still worth watching, and there were some killer spots here. But they wiped that all away by how they ended.
Yes, it's the payoff that just
out of it.
Pulls it out. Like, what? That's tough.
That's why in my head I'm sitting there going, I'd rather these guys didn't break their bodies just for that, and they could have saved themselves for All In or anything else that was coming up, instead of doing a match that was damn good level. It's not worthwhile to break somebody at that point.
Right.
Just like we had in our main event, as again, Wheeler Yuta is used as a pawn in the main title scene to showcase how bad I'm going to beat you up. Wow. Swerve went nasty on him, and even though Yuta got a couple of little bit things here and there, this was basically a squash. Yuta got his butt kicked. Just to get in Danielson's head, do we feel like that happened? Like, is Danielson doubting himself?
I think that's the story they want to tell. I don't totally buy it, because they've told the same story for months. Danielson's in his head. He's going to retire. He's in his head. Are you ready? Are you in it? I get it. So now just beating up the student of the master to get to the master in the master's head. There's a whole other plot line happening with MJF and Will Ospreay doing the exact same thing. Like this, we're kind of playing this we're mirroring these plot lines. There's actually some moments in here where Wheeler Yuta, you can tell, is doing less to make Swerve look more, which is a shame. Yeah. Those of us who watch him enough, like there's some stuff that's like, oh, there's Wheeler not choosing to do this, and that kind of took a little bit of the oomph out of it.
In order to make sure of it. Yeah, you could definitely see it looked like in a Yuta babyface match or a Yuta forward match, there would have been a lot more mat work. They would have taken things down. There would have been more pins here and there. It was made to be a broken match, and then over the top.
There's a whole sequence. Yuta does a reversal, does a thing, throws him, gets the elbows in, and it's beautiful. And then all of a sudden, just kind of stops. It's like, why'd you? What? But no! And then Swerve just takes off. But yeah.
And then we get Excalibur at the end of the night yelling, "Will All In London be the end of an era? Will be the end of Bryan Danielson? Will we find out at Wembley?" Just get there already.
Just get on with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what's hard to pick AEW now is that it's so muddy. I'm like, I don't know if I care to pick. Like, you haven't shown me you're worth picking some of these, which is a shame.
It is. Again, great work overall. A lot of good work on the wrestler side of it. Some work not needed. Things were further, but I think when we came to it at the top of this for Dynamite, this was hey, does that stick to the wall? Crap, it's sticking to the wall a little bit, and we only have a week to get it ready for stuff.
Exactly. It wasn't supposed to stick like that. No. Why? They like that? Wait, no, they're not supposed to like that. Yeah, like that kind of catch up.
Oh. All right, I'm going to chuck it over now to Alice with our Collision review because Alice has some
Rampage.
Oh, we're
Rampage.
I'm sorry, but that monkey had me on Collision. I was jumping over Rampage. Go for it, Alice.
It's not my fault.
All right. So Rampage. This is our 1 hour quick show. So here we go. We open it with the Outrunners and the Butcher versus our conglomeration. We've got Tomohiro Ishii, Mark Briscoe, and Orange Juice. We have Kyle O'Reilly. He was on commentary for this. So they came out all together and they did make a point to say the word of the day is cohesiveness, right? So any sort of like, cracks that you may have seen earlier, I think they're like trying to be like, that was just over here. So there's that.
What's that Mr. Show episode where it's the two grocery store owners and the guy is just like, there are no dead bodies in my store. All the produce is clean. You have no reason to worry about it. And then it cuts back to the other guy. It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason I feel like the reason this match worked is because the Outrunners are so good at selling. So good at selling. So the conglomeration did come away with the win. And our question for this one is, how can you boo the Outrunners?
Yeah, I mean, how?
You can't.
In many different voices. Like you have to go along with whatever pose they're doing. So this is a boo, and this is a boo, and this is
so it's just like their gimmick is so stupid, but like in the best way possible.
I love it.
I feel like it's really hard to get people to hate stupid wrestling like this. That's why it's very hard to boo the Outrunners, and it's also very hard to boo MXM Collection because they have been getting cheered every single match they've been getting into with just
Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I only call boo because I only see them once every 5 months because I'm on Dynamite.
Yeah,
and I only see them getting randomly squashed or in the background for a second, like, "Oh, you guys are great!"
Hey, sometimes they win, and ROH they win sometimes.
But they're so good, and that's the energy and character that matters and works. And for some reason, it just gets tamped down in the name of let's be real.
Right?
Come on.
Why can't Chris Jericho go away and Large William gets to tag with him? Because the Butcher is one.
Talk about him during Collision. We will talk about Chris Jericho and Collision because I got beef with him. But the fun kept rolling because Alice, we didn't even take a break for the first match because it rolled in.
I loved this. So out with the Outrunners was Erica Lee, right? So she's wonderful. I love her very much. Immediately, it's the first time I've seen her. I'm like, yes, more, please, thank you. But the conglomeration is literally walking off stage, and then here comes the native beast, Nyla Rose. She just like tears onto the screen, runs into the ring, and it's Erica Lee versus Nyla Rose. And the announcer's like, "Oh, we didn't know when this match was going to happen. I guess it's now." Very funny. The Outrunners like push Erica. She like hits Nyla Rose, and she's like, "Oh my god, let me just fix. I'm so sorry. Let me fix all that." And then it starts like top notch. I loved this. I loved. It was great. It was so great.
Why can't we get this kind of energy on Dynamite on a thing that explodes?
Yeah, why is Dynamite like the brooding, angry one, and Rampage and Collision are just fun as hell?
So this is how I would break it down. So Dynamite is Dynamite is like the hot topic of the AEW universe where it's trying too hard with how edgy it is. Then you have Collision, which is like the Spencers, which is like the knockoff brand of Dynamite, but it's more fun and we don't know what to expect. And then Rampage would be what would be the equivalent of it?
The cool bougie thrift store where all the good shit is.
Let's see. We will make. You know what? Rampage is like H&M, where it's just like it's for anybody. Everyone just goes there. Everyone talks about it. Like I would say it is the Disney story because Rampage brings me happiness.
I was gonna call Rampage Claire's.
Yes, it's Claire's.
Claire's, because sometimes it's like all colorful and very exciting, and sometimes it's really, really good, and sometimes it's not so good.
If you're infection from ear piercing, like it's
you can be cutesy but be edgy, like in your ears pierced.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. It's like if you're a dad and Claire's by yourself, it's like I'm looking for my daughter. I mean, these are colorful. Yeah.
So there we go.
On top of that, can we go back also? You're talking about Rampage, right? And didn't Saraya say that's been called a nightcap for 2 years now? We should know this. It shouldn't be the Rampage.
Ooh, we'll talk about her in a bit.
We're
gonna get there.
Now I do have a somewhat serious question to bring up, because we do constantly talk about how ROH talent is brought up to AEW and gets jobbed out, is enhancement talent. But if we stop and step back, there has been a long list of memorable jobbers, enhancement talent, that have cultivated our wrestling experience. Leaping Lenny Poffo, the Italian Stallion, Barry Horowitz, Iron Mike Sharp, even Mick Foley was a jobber for a bit. So my question is, the ROH talent being called up to lose against all these hot AEW talent, is it really a bad thing?
Yes,
especially when ROH doesn't know what to do with their talent anyways in terms of story and its own brand.
And when they're taken away for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and storylines stop because they have to go up and either change the babyface to heel or whatever else it is to lose to whoever's beating up there, it gives the casual viewer of AEW no idea who these people really are and doesn't entice them to then go watch ROH. It just says, oh, they're undercard and not worthwhile, so why do I even give them my time?
And I do see what you're saying, though, Adolfo, and I'm going to... The only thing that I would add is, in my opinion, I think the jobbers are kind of more in love with wrestling than the main card and the main talent. Because they don't need the spotlight, they don't need the fans, they don't need to sign autographs, they can just collect a trek and train. And they're like, oh, I need to hold up the industry I love? Sure. What do you need? Great. Go lose? Perfect. I'll make you look great. There's a different humility and working class type of attitude to that, as opposed to costumes and flash and whatever else. I can't think of the name of... there was the Brooklyn Brawler, and there was another one. There were 2 or 3 that I remember growing up with that were just jobbers all the time.
Barry Horowitz is one of the huge ones.
Yeah, and just like that was, there was the moniker was sort of like, I don't need it, I don't want it. Right. However, all the wrestlers have the ridiculous respect for, hey, yeah, that guy made me this, that guy made me that. I think what's interesting about what's happening in ROH is that they can't get any momentum because they're getting jobbed out. I think that's how it gets misused a little bit, as opposed to not even like doing it under your brand that you've created. Like put them on a mask and create a character or something, or at least so it's not equated the same. I think they could protect themselves a little better.
Alice?
Yep.
You want to weigh in on the question?
No, I don't, because you stepped in on my review.
Okay. Sorry.
Hot damn.
So next, we had a spot from Saraya. So she and Harley, I keep wanting to call her Haley so bad. There's an R in her name. Harley and Saraya come out, and they have a spot. It's Saraya's birthday. They try to sing. It's very funny. And then Timeless Tony Storm shows up and interrupts and essentially says, like, you know, you want a shot at the title, and then you can get it, you know, and then you can have it. So we're going to get a Tony versus Saraya on Dynamite tomorrow night, I think, which is very exciting. My question for this one is, what's the over-under on shenanigans in this match?
Oh my gosh.
Can you give me a percentage chance of shenanigans in this match?
97.352.
It's up there.
It's pretty up there, right? I'm
like,
thinking
if it was a prop bet on DraftKings, take it. Like you're gonna get the money line. Goodness.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I might have to watch Dynamite so I can see this match because I want to see the shenanigans.
And I see a random Ruby Soho appear, so we have the Outcasts all together again.
No, she's very pregnant.
She's very pregnant.
She's very.
She could appear, but she would just be on the sideline waving. You know,
I didn't know that. Good for
Sir, where have you been?
The professor doesn't watch Rampage or Collision. This was not
Nobody
on
talks
Dynamite.
to me. I'm over here on the Dynamite Island.
Ruby was on Dynamite before. Oh my god, never mind. Yeah, she's very pregnant with Cool Hand and her are like a married couple, and they're having
they're a married couple. Yeah, and it's a girl.
Can she? I mean, she can still show up pregnant and wreck house.
No, we are not going to do that. No. Okay. No.
That's too dangerous.
No, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm just gonna take my HR hat off that just ran on my head. Okay, moving on. Acclaimed spot. Next we have the Acclaimed, the Dark Acclaimed.
That's what they morphed into, is the Dark Acclaimed.
Is that the term we're really going to go with at this point, or are we going to move on from that?
I don't even think it's Dark Acclaimed. They're just fed up. And I was like, I'm fed up with you too, guys. Like, they can't just give you a one-on-one match. Like,
I know. I want them to get a one-on-one match. I'm really annoyed. Anyway, that's fine. We can talk about that on Collision.
The Infamous, maybe, instead of the Dark Acclaimed?
We're moving on. Because we got a whole...
The anti-acclaimed.
We have Collision and all-in predictions. Let's go.
Okay. Next we had... Go ahead.
No, I'm just muting Mikey.
Oh, okay. Next, we had a match between Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. Of course, Nick Wayne came out with Mother Wayne and Kill Switch. Kip Sabian is Ken, and his job is wrestling. Yes. You can fight me on that if you want. I said what I said.
Does that make Penelope Ford his Barbie then at that point, if she's coming back sometime? Because it's Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. Penelope is somewhere around.
Sure. So it was so hard for me to believe Nick Wayne was a better wrestler than Sabian. I mean, Nick Wayne did pick up the win with intervention from Mama Wayne. What a surprise. And of course, Christian Cage was watching in the back, applauding his boy. Very nice. Excellent. So my question for this is, as Mother Wayne is a trios champion, she is carrying the belt. When are we going to see her in the ring?
Never.
When did
she's gonna?
We haven't seen her in the ring in a match. We've seen her interfere a chunk for sure.
Yeah.
Right, but if you look on the AEW website,
she's listed.
She's listed
as the champion,
a trio champion.
Wow.
So where is she? I need her in the ring. Thank you very much.
You know, it could. Don't hate me for saying this out loud. It could be interesting to see her take a pin, just accidentally getting involved and getting a pin.
Right.
And being like, well, she's a champion. Wait, no, what? And then that spins off in a certain direction.
She's going to climb the ladder at Wembley and win the titles.
Imagine, right?
I would actually be here for that.
I would.
Pull full James Ellsworth and just do it.
With her high heels and everything. Fabulous.
Yes. Climb the ladder.
Now coming to the floor, Mama Wayne serving. See you next Tuesday.
Oh boy!
You better work.
To be her segment. That needs to be her weekly Dynamite interview.
Play ballroom music.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So Death Drop.
That's that. Definitely hoping to see some shenanigans there. It would be really exciting, I think, and interesting to see her in the ring, even if it's not anything super serious. Just to see her do some stuff. Next, we had a private party spot. What? I don't know what this was. I love the private party. I was very confused. Abaddon
Abaddon was at the party.
Was at the party.
Trish was there.
Brandon Cutler comes walking in.
Right.
I think,
and then
go ahead, Alex. I was gonna say, I was just like, you call it weird because it was weird who was partying, but it was also weird who was like the primary focus interacting with Private Party in this whole thing, and was out there arguing with Cheesecake the whole entire time. I'm like, Scorpio Sky, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Was Little John featured on this track? Was everybody there? Is that just how that went?
Right.
Well, we didn't see who was in the actual
party.
Actual party. So
Sure wasn't.
It was a fast spot. It was funny, but it was weird.
Right. And Private Party ends up being like, oh, he's cool. Like, let's bring him back. So they bring him in. And I'm like, what? Are you telling me you're going to be a trio? What's happening? What is this?
Maybe they're going to be in the ladder match.
Ooh, maybe.
Honestly, that'd be kind of fantastic.
Maybe you can't say these things that get me really excited.
Well, no, so follow me in the logic.
She's so excited.
Oh no!
She's knocking over cameras.
You knocked your camera.
That's how excited this is, because you need that group that can be like that Jeff Hardy spot who's going to take the major bumps off the ladder, flying around, screaming out.
I know. I need Isaiah Cassidy scream. Like, that's what I want.
As he goes off a 25-foot ladder. Yeah, no, it'd be perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
All
right.
Keep going.
What else
So
happened,
next,
Alice?
what?
What else
I'm
happened,
banging on the
Alice?
table because I was excited and I've ruined everything. You're welcome. I do that a lot.
Hurricane Alice coming through.
That's me. So next we had Kyle Fletcher and Roosh versus KM and Rhett Titus. This was a squash match. Roosh got the pin. I think, again, this is trying to sell the ruthlessness of Roosh. You know, he was having a whole thing with Don Callis. Oh, right after that was the weird spot.
It was
right?
the weird
that
spot.
was the weird spot.
Yep.
So right after that, we have a spot with like Kyle and Roosh and Don Callis in the back. And Roosh is like, you got to take me seriously. Give me something serious. Rah! And then Don Callis was like, all right. And then he leaves. And then all of a sudden, Don Callis is like trying to be relatable father guy, right? He's like, oh, I always got to be on when he's around. Like, oh, can you believe this kid? Right.
Sad boy Kyle Fletcher was activated.
Yeah. And Kyle Fletcher's like, I wanted to apologize for last week, you know? And then Don Callis is like, you got nothing to worry about. You're the best. You have no worries. I'm like, what? Why are we suddenly trying to play this like this relatable, I'm not a ruthless man?
Because I'm gonna tell you why. It's gonna continue, and Kyle's gonna get attacked. That is what's happening. Kyle's about to get ousted in a couple of weeks.
Because I was going to say, otherwise, they're just starting Kyle turning on the Dom Fallis family again for the 12th time this year. But still.
And we've seen this Don Callis look at me, I'm a humble, nice guy, wink to the audience thing before. And now
he didn't play it that way. Usually when he does that, there's an undercurrent of maliciousness and malice. He did not have that in this spot. That was not there.
I think Mikey's still right. I wonder why. I don't know.
Yeah, because
I'm hoping that Mark Davis is coming close to returning. That's why we're doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Got it.
Aussie Open.
Oi, oi, oi.
Okay. Then that brings us to the main event of Rampage. This was so much fun.
Best match of Rampage. Don't care. Fight me.
Yes.
Professor, do you remember when wrestling was fun?
The best match.
No, it's been so long
since we had fun.
Alice, tell us why this was fun. Who was involved?
It was Top Flight featuring a new look. And my best friend Leo Rush came out with them too. He was on commentary. And they also came out with Layla Gray. She's in this like stewardess uniform. And it was Top Flight versus the MXM collection. Woo! So I loved this. I loved how Top Flight leaned into the silliness of MXM. MXM was on fire. This match was fantastic. Leo was really adding to the commentary, and my favorite moment in this match was Mansoor stuck in the middle. He could have pinned Top Flight. He could have got the win, but he was stuck in the middle, suffering from the bye panic, looking at Layla Gray, and then also Mason Madden posing on opposite sides of the ring. So he's like, oh my God, Layla. Good. Oh my God, Mason. Oh. And that was the best part of that match.
I was like, work.
It was so good. Anyway, Top Flight won. Yay, Top Flight. But this was top tier. My question for this match is, do we think this is silly wrestling done right for a change? For a minute?
Immediate, yes.
It sounds like it. It sounds great to me.
It is, yes. And let me add on to this. Yes, the match was fantastic. I loved it. But then again, they need to air these back, like social media exclusive promos onto the television, because the MXM collection, the MXM collection one, go look on it on Instagram, is so fantastic. First of all, it starts off with, Mansoor like being cradled and held by Mason. I was just like, it was so, I loved it, and just the way they interacted and talked in the promo was just like, best thing ever.
Yeah.
And to go
to my boy, my boy.
And to go back to an earlier conversation we had about this too, MXM is one of those teams that has been able to jump back and forth between ROH and AEW really easily, because if you haven't checked it out, we talked about this last week. Their promo with Griff Garrison last week was hysterical. It was the best of goofy wrestling. So this is how you do it. Maybe this is what you need, is you need a goofy style to jump everywhere and be able to meld everyone and heal the wounds. Who knows?
So that was our very exciting Rampage.
Yeah, MXM collection, healing the world just one tip at a time.
Yeah. That's right. So this brings us over to Saturday Night's Collision for August 17th. And to get things started, we had DMD, Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker.
Doctor.
Versus Harley Cameron. Hey, guys. Did y'all know? Did y'all know that Harley Cameron can wrestle?
What?
That's what I saw.
She's more than a sexy lamp. She can throw down.
Did you say more than a sexy lamp?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
she is a sexy lamp a lot of the time.
Most of the time.
I thought she was a major award.
She's an award. Fragile.
Must be Italian. So Britt Baker and Harley opened this Collision up, and it was a great match. They both worked really hard. They both worked really well together. They had a lot of higher technical spots that went off well. And the match was great. It was a great, believable match. And Britt does get the win by pin. She doesn't use her mandible claw maneuver.
She tried.
So she tried, but she didn't get it off. So she won by pin. But then, as the match ended, Mercedes Moné's music kicks on, and her and Camille emerge from backstage. DMD tried to pull out a kendo stick and
this was
attack
awesome.
Camille. Camille grabbed the kendo stick and broke the kendo stick over her knee, which I believe this is the second kendo stick broken in wrestling this week, which is an all-time record, maybe.
It's gotta be some kind of record. Yeah, it's gotta be
some kind of record.
And then Camille proceeds to kick, punch, and then carry Britt Baker into the ring and flatlines her. And Mercedes steps on Britt, and that is how that ends. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I was trying to figure out my thoughts on this, and I'm disappointed. I'm meh for all the fire that Mercedes had coming in when she came into AEW. I shouldn't feel meh right now. I should not feel meh.
Which is kind of what I was referencing at the top, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
I agree.
Exactly. And I mean, if she wants to have hired muscle, fine. Fine. I don't know. I feel like adding Camille was a little too late in the whole thing. Like they when Mercedes came in, Camille should have came in with her. And we should have done just like a, Ted DiBiase and
Virgil
thing right off the get go.
This definitely smells of, oops, it's not working. Do something quick.
Right. So then we got the big announcement. Hey, y'all, All In 2025 is going to be in Texas, y'all.
And Texas, Arlington, okay. Let's talk
crowd
about
goes
this.
mild.
So okay, here's what I think. You guys had a good thing in Wembley, so I was just like, why? I mean, I know AEW is trying to make Texas like their home turf, because literally we had a whole residency, if you want to call it that, with ROH and Collision over the summer leading into All In. And we'll talk about it. Well, I can say this now. While there were some ups and downs, I actually enjoyed Collision and ROH being in one place, because it was just like, hey, you know what? This was actually a pretty good 6-7 weeks. I enjoyed this. This was fun. And I think it worked. So just saying, ROH, if you just find one place to tape the tapings, it's not that hard. But I digress. But back to this point, there's just a whole plethora of reasons why this feud leading into All In isn't working for me. And, the announcement that it's going to Texas, I was like, why? Why are you doing this?
Because they don't want to counter program against the other big company that's starting to actually get traction in Europe.
I don't want to.
I think that's the answer is more international shows, not less.
Yes, come on now.
And the answer is fine. You're going there, then we're gonna go to Montreal. We're gonna go to Australia. We're
All In should be the international show. We talk about this on all the other programming. I was like, All In is AEW's only international show, and for you to go to Texas for next year, I'm just like, why? It's so ridiculous.
Well, don't you? I mean, Texas thinks of itself as its own sovereign nation at this point. I mean, that could work, I guess, if in its favor.
I'm just like, whatever. I'm over it. Next.
Right. So now they started doing something on Collision this week, which I actually think works, and I kind of hope they keep doing it. They had a really a 2-minute recap where Tony Schiavone recaps the storyline coming into the match, and the recap that he had was for the Sammy Guevara Dustin Rhodes match, which then brought us to Dustin Rhodes and the Spanish God Sammy Guevara versus the Undisputed Kingdom Matt Taven and Mike Bennett for the ROH Tag Team belts
on Collision.
On Collision.
Yes.
On Collision. I just hear Andrew yelling in my ear. On Collision.
Collision. I told Andrew, and I can't share the things that he texted me because he went off on a tirade. Let's just say he was not happy. He called it, and he was not happy about it.
And I mean, to put salt in the wound, this match was a fantastic match.
It was a great.
Sammy Guevara, I don't know what he was doing when he was out all those months. I don't know if he went to Lucha Libre school or something like that, but he came on and he was all of his moves were just super Lucha. You know what I mean? And Dustin, definitely the power of these two. looked great. Like he was pulling off these snap slams off of Bennett and Taven that were gorgeous, just gorgeous. And to their credit, Matt, Bennett and Taven, they always look good, you know, in that ring. But more to the point, as the match continued, we had chaos because the Beast Mortos and Roddy Strong come running down to the ring.
This is too much.
And then more people. And then there's more chaos because then the Von Erichs come and they claw the Beast Mortos and Roddy Strong. And then more chaos because the Cage of Agony comes out. And then more chaos because the conglomeration comes out.
So, okay, I'm gonna pause you right there. Okay, so this is my big issue because normally I hate overbooked matches really badly. This wouldn't have been as bad had I not got the same version of it like 2 days before on ROH television, because that's the exact same thing that happened.
Really? Huh.
I was like, we got the exact same thing that happened on ROH with all those people you mentioned.
Mikey, we got the dress rehearsal for this. Apparently, is what it ended up being. Basically,
that's what it was because, you know, but for me, this didn't distract from the match. Finally, in the end, Sammy and Dustin, they come out with the win. They are your new ROH tag team champions. And this match for me made my lizard brain very, very happy. It felt to me like a classic babyface gets the final win, where the heels get their comeuppance after being like super heelish for so long. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great match. Yeah.
I don't normally get to watch Collision. Sorry, I don't mean to cut anyone off.
Yep.
This is probably the best I've seen Dustin look in at least a while.
Yeah.
Because there was a few Dynamites coming up at the end of the year last year where we're like, oh man, he can hardly move his back. He's hardly walking. He's hardly running. And then he had that match. Was that Swerve earlier in this year where he was just all bloodied up and we're like, oh, Swerve is running the table around you. This was great. Like you said, the snap slams were clean. He threw a breakdancing move in the middle of this. Like, look at you at 56 or however old he is.
It's
55. I looked it up.
Yeah, he's 55.
Wow.
But no, it's weird when he doesn't have to carry the Von Erichs. He seems to actually be really good.
Yeah, right.
So
I thought that I was joyfully surprised as well. And then of course I agree with Andrew on what are we doing with these titles and what are we doing to each other's promotions. I absolutely see that. I did hear the Benny Hill music in my head after about the fifth person came out.
Maybe it's because I didn't see it on ROH, but it for me it didn't detract from the match. So
okay, I'm gonna push back a little bit. So sorry in advance. I'm gonna push back. On paper, I totally love this match because both tag teams are great. I'm not upset that Sammy and Dustin won, but I'm upset that they won because Dustin still has the ROH 6-man tag team championships. Okay. And now that we're out of Texas, I need to know what we're doing with them, or they're going to hold them hostage like every other AEW person who's held an ROH championship is going to hold them hostage, and we're never going to see them on ROH television until the next pay-per-view, which isn't till December. Just might I add. So I'm not mad about the match. I'm mad at booking and that ROH still doesn't get treated the way that it should. But I digress.
All right. So then after this match, we got a very interesting video package where we had a bunch of AEW stars and talents weighing in on the Bryan Danielson Swerve Strickland match. Accompanied to music to the song Machine Head by Bush.
Tony Khan got these weird licenses.
No, he's got everybody from WWE over telling him this is the way you book things. Nostalgia, nostalgia, nostalgia.
It's not working. We don't care. I don't care.
It was, it could have been left out of Collision and nothing would have changed.
Just like this next promo.
After this, when we come back from commercial, we get
the worst promo.
Go ahead, Mikey.
Okay, here we go. No Large William, unfortunately, so sorry, Professor.
He would have fixed this. It would have been way better.
Really good, yeah.
He could have just stood there and been the straight man. It would have been perfect.
So there are two big problems with this issue. Number one, Chris Jericho was on my television screen. That's the first one. The second problem, this was like a 5-minute promo. Holy crap, this took up too much. This was too long. And so it's like, okay, so I'm pulling literature here. Literally, Chris Jericho promo is like the sound and the fury, which signifies nothing. I'm combining lots of things here, but that is
Look
how
at you in the Shakespeare. Yes.
This was the sound and the fury that was signifying nothing because Chris Jericho said nothing interesting, nothing of worth, nothing of my attention. I don't care.
He spoke.
He wanted to know if he liked his yellow jacket. That was interesting.
The fact that he gets a match at Wembley still makes me mad. So I'm spiteful here. I'm spiteful. I hated this promo. Chris Jericho needs to go off television. Hopefully somebody will make him magically get lost at one of these Jericho cruises, but I digress.
I'm not saying this absolves the promo of anything. In fact, I'm not. No, hang on. Don't follow me here. I'm not talking about Chris Jericho. I love the trend of trying to make Renee laugh on the last line of your promo with her. That's a tradition that has started where we just kind of throw the wink to Renee, where we kind of get her to laugh and smile. And I think that's fun. Jericho does it here. I'm not saying that absolves him from doing a horrible promo.
Is that what he was trying to do?
That's because I've seen this on
funny.
We've
Pick something else.
Or was
that's fine.
Or was he trying to non-verbally tell Renee, hey, you're going to sign an NDA after this, just FYI?
I mean, it could be, you could take it to the creepy sense. I'm taking it as everyone, Renee has the rapport with everyone, even the sleazeball people, that there's sort of like, hey, I'm still enjoy doing the work with you. That's all I'm speaking to. I'm highlighting Renee, not the other thing. That was it.
So I want to rebut this quickly, Professor. It's not everyone that's been doing this. It's been like the silly wrestlers like Shibata or Orange Cassidy or folks like that have like a reputation when they're doing that stuff to do it. Jericho's trying to do that and coming off horrendous with it.
Sure. I could see he doesn't nail it. I'm just remarking that I see it.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, and by the way, in Cardiff on Dynamite, we're going to be getting Jericho versus the Dynamite Kid, Craig Billington, Tom Billington, I should say. So,
poor kid.
All right.
I'm just begging anyone to take the FTW championship from Chris Jericho. Anyone, please take it from him.
Moving on. Our next match was Hologram versus Angelico with Serpentico at ringside. Great match. You know, they Angelico and Hologram worked really well together.
Yeah.
Hologram actually did a lot more mat work this match than Lucha flipping around. He did, and he ends up getting the pin. Hologram ends up getting the pin. It was a good match. Nothing.
This was fun.
It was a lot of fun. You know.
Now it was fun, but now I worry because I'm sitting here wondering who is Hologram losing to.
Right now we're at that stage of the game of who is Hologram losing to, and when is he going to get lost in the shuffle?
Yeah, because he's come out. He's been really hot. He's been really amazing. It's been really fun to watch him work. Now is the time to get some sort of story established, and I'm afraid that
especially now that we're out of Arlington, where this homegrown project started and has picked up steam.
That's tough. Right. That dive Hologram does about halfway through this, though.
So good.
God.
Yeah.
Watching work Angelico's Yave style is ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much. Love to see it.
Yeah, it was good. So then after this, we had a spot. Danger. Tiger Driver 91 is dangerous.
Danger. Get on the floor. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that was the spot. Was the Tiger Driver 91 is dangerous, and we need a history lesson on that. So,
which means we might see a Tiger Driver.
We're probably going to see a Tiger Driver from MJF at All In. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, that's right. So now this brings us to our next match, which is a squash match. Scapegoat Jack Perry versus Danny Orion from DallasSingles.com.
So what?
That was very funny.
I was like, what the hell?
That was so good. And note to self for anyone, don't just text that into a group thing because it'll make it a link.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna put this up. The big thing from this match is that are you gonna play? What are you doing? Are you rendering? There we go.
There it is.
So the big thing from this match
It's playing.
is that Jack Perry debuted his new TNT belt, which
he took a smelting class about like 2 weeks ago.
The man made himself.
So okay, we're gonna see the process, and then we're gonna show the finished product in a sec. Hang on. We got videos and slides.
The paint part was the worst part.
Yeah.
The belt was the worst part.
This edgelord kid did what?
Yep. So
TikTok smelting course.
Yeah. And at the end of the match, Jack Perry buried the TNT belt.
And then this is what we got.
And this is the new TNT belt.
Which he made was that he does this whole thing where the belt is up against a wall, and he just took a little red paint and went, yeah.
So JVL will love this. This is totally House of Torture vibes. I'm just putting it out there.
God, yes.
It is House of Torture colors, and that remember because Jack Perry is part of House of Torture in New Japan, so that is the thing that is happening.
Yeah. So
angry face near the.
I know. Hold on, let's put it back up.
What is he doing?
He farted in the room.
I'm using this as a meme picture now for all future reviews. Just put it out there.
So, it's going to be very interesting if this upcoming Saturday, if at All In. Sunday.
If
Jack Perry does end up losing
he's not
the belt.
Spoiler,
he should.
He should, but he's not.
Does he give up his homemade belt? And I will, I don't like the scapegoat, Jack Perry, the wrestler. However, Jack Perry, the human being, I have respect and give him flowers, especially for doing that. Because that was a beautiful piece of art that he created. But go ahead, Mikey.
I was going to say, I love how you mentioned that the best part of this whole thing was the process in which Jack Perry made this and not the in-ring and actual story that we got going on right now between him and Darby.
No, yeah, that no, but the way that he made his belt was
cool because I can't do that. I'm not that talented. Yeah. I'm like, I have no talent like that.
Yeah, and he dremeled the whole thing. It was fantastic. Anyway. Here we go.
That's my face.
Yes. I'm going to be bringing this up a lot. I'm just putting it up now. Thanks, Adolfo, for giving me something fun to play with.
You're welcome.
That should be a meme immediately. That should be out there.
This is going to be me and Alice's disappointed faces. And it's going to come back up in a little bit. I'm just going to
put it out there. It is.
So after this, we get a spot. It's a trios refresher of the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, and the Patriarchy. And then they have this really cool House of Black, Bang Bang Gang spot where they edit interviews with the House of Black and the Bang Bang Gang. And Juice Robinson calls Mother Wayne a hellacious hellcat.
I loved that.
It was for a pre-recorded spot. I thought it was very inventive, and I thought it was actually very entertaining. So I definitely liked it. And this was followed up with corporate Chris Daniels popping up and saying that at All In, or I should say at Cardiff, at Collision in Cardiff, we're going to have a match to determine the wild card entrance. And then it's going to be the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, the Patriarchy, and this wild card trios team in a London ladders match. And my question to everyone is this: if it's a London ladder match, will fish and chips be involved?
No, but they all would be falling down.
It's the same as an American ladder match. They just walk up the other side.
Instead of London Bridge, it's London Ladders.
The bridge is going to fall apart, basically.
It's going to fall apart.
Or your Fergie is like, how come every time you come around my London Bridge, I want to go down like...
You can also see there's going to be like a random guy in a V mask under the ring setting a bunch of explosives that you've got to stop before it goes off. Like, who knows?
That's the match. That's the thing.
So there are two options, and we'll talk more about this when we get to the all-in predictions. I would like to see Private Party and Scorpio earn that final shot because I think it'd be hilarious. Or, it's unfortunate for everybody else, but I would actually love them to pull like a trios from the actual UK scene to give them something to do. Like, you literally just had MJF and Will Ospreay appear at Rev Pro this past weekend too, with Michael Oku battling for MJF's title at Rev Pro. So there are so many options.
That would be incredible to do. I would like to think they would do something like that. That would
bring in
really
Killian Dane. That man is so good.
Right.
Killing it in Rev Pro.
So then our next match is Claudio Castagnoli versus Lio Rush. You want to take this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was really bummed about this match. This was a bad match. Yeah, I feel that way about this match. This was an overglorified squash match. So Claudio, they were really trying to play the height and weight differences of these two wrestlers, right? The thing for me that made this fall flat was the amount of times Claudio Castagnoli no-selled, right? If Lio Rush is like running around, he's doing all this work, he's like doing all these like lucha high-flying moves to pull you down, and you no-sell once, that's great. But if he does it again within the next 30 seconds, fall down. Like you are not helping. He's doing all this work and you just look like a stone man. This is not, you don't look like you're this big burly guy right now. You look like you don't want to be here. You look like you don't want to wrestle. Like, make it entertaining. This was boring and I was very angry. How dare you do this to my boy?
I agree with the no-selling bit, and I'm not disagreeing. I do think he kind of half-assed did it, the second half of it, which was sort of a slap to the audience, I feel. Because then there's moments where they do a little bit of the outside ring work and some of the other stuff, and he's just, oh, wow, that one really hurt. And then the next three things do nothing. Right? And then something else happens, and it goes, that one got me a little.
He was not committed.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was out of it. He was not committed, and this was a poor performance on his behalf.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, and to kind of sort of defend Claudio a little bit, it might be because he has been bouncing back and forth from Mexico up to Arlington, and then on Friday, he's going back down for the CMLL Grand Prix. I mean, he might just he might have just been tired,
exhausted,
and that doesn't excuse him having a boring match, but
then put someone else in. Like, he doesn't have to be in all these things, right? Like, he doesn't have to be in all these matches. It doesn't have to be him. It obviously didn't really belong to any particular storyline or move it forward. It could have been someone else.
I'm just saying, I know you don't want to cross-promote ROH, but like, we had Robbie Eagles down for a couple of weeks, so have Robbie Eagles and Lio Rush go at it. I pay money to see that match, like, honestly.
I thought Lio Rush looked great, though. I do agree with you that a lot of this fell flat, but some of the I haven't seen a lot of him, but he jumped across the ring in that one part at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, and then rolls a little bit. It's like, oh my God, you went the whole Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get our next spot, which was Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander. And they were talking about their match at that's coming up. And apparently what's on the line is whoever wins gets to pick the stipulation at All Out for Chris Stat and Willow Nightingale.
Which I'm assuming is for the CMLL Women's Championship.
Which you're right. Which is kind of adding to the frustration. It's kind of frustrating that the CMLL Women's Championship is not being defended in Mexico. But here we are.
No, we'll talk about it when we get to
someone from CMLL.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, we'll get there. And then we get this spot. So I'm just gonna throw this up here, and I'm gonna hand it over.
Oh boy, here we go.
Alice. Just wait for it.
I love the production value we have.
Oh,
there we go. There we go. That is Eddie Kingston talking about Bryan Danielson again.
Who?
Yeah, who? Brian, who?
Mikey, what you had thoughts about this?
He's still talking in the background.
I have him on my phone. That's what we're hearing right now.
I was gonna say, I was like, it ain't me. My feelings. Okay, here we go. So I texted this in the group chat as I was watching Collision live, and I'm happy that everyone, especially Alex, agreed with me. I was like, dang, Eddie Kingston out here really looking like King of the Buns. I'm like, what the flip was this, you guys? Like, Eddie cutting this stupid... Yes, exactly. Why is my whole thing like Eddie has no part in this whole entire feud between Swerve and Danielson? Like, what the flip was this? Make sense.
Yep. Yep. Like, and it, because earlier we got the like, oh well, I think Swerve's gonna win. We don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry, like this isn't actually pushing the story forward. You're giving us opinions and like why they're not involved in the storyline. This feels weird. This doesn't make any sense. He's not personally invested. You've not established any relationship between him and these people. What?
It also looks like it was recorded on a phone 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not the best quality of a thing.
This was whack.
And it's sort of like, hey, Eddie, just be contrarian. Or I wonder if it was like, hey, send us a video. We'll think about it. And I'll give you two takes. One where I'm anti, one that I'm for, and they use the anti take. I don't know.
I will say, though, I like the couch and the accoutrement. I was like, this is a nice house you got, Eddie. This ain't bad.
Nice place. Yeah.
I was about to say, he filmed it in between Kung Fu movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn.
So, but this brought us to our next match, which had the glamour, Mariah May versus London Dior. For all intents and purposes, squash match. However, we got, oh boy,
movie of the century. Oscar goes to
my final gift. Timeless Tony Storm. My final gift. The strongest chin, the toughest tits, and the stiffest shoe.
So this is, oh my god. So
I'm just gonna say really quick. This had gone stale up to this movie. This movie came out, and I was just like, give it to me. Yes.
You think it got stale? Really? Stale how?
Get out of my house.
I felt no. I'm not
such anger from the HR department. Please continue.
Wow.
Stale. Defend yourself. Why did it go stale for you? I want to know.
Because it kind of felt like to me what the same way that Swerve and Bryan Danielson, you know, like when it was first announced, awesome. And then there was this buildup, and then it just kind of like was limping along, you know, and we're like, get on with it. The last week, 2 weeks of the Mariah May, Timeless Tony Storm story has to me has been kind of like dragging, but like this movie just kind of like it reinvigorated it for me. Maybe it was because Timeless Tony Storm was kind of playing that depressed character.
Sure, I'll buy that. Sure.
And I was like, this is not the Tony Storm I want going into this match.
That's,
you know, and then all of a sudden she rips off that robe and
takes
chin
off the wig.
tits shoe, baby.
So, okay.
You had to give her time in her chrysalis.
So,
yeah, you have a grievance in your midst.
Alice, tag me in.
Adolfo's going to get paperwork.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay. So Alice has tagged me in. So Adolfo, I agree with you. I can understand where you're coming from. However, I'm going to push back that the Swerve and Danielson and Mariah and Tony's build up to this are not the same thing. And here's why. Remember, this whole story that we've gotten with Mariah and Tony has been months of storytelling from the initial, you know, when Mariah came in and, you know, Tony taking her under the wing, them becoming a force in the women's division, this loving relationship they have, Tony entering Mariah into the Owen Hart Foundation tournament and supporting her, Mariah ultimately winning, and then finally taking her shot. And then we have to see Tony Storm in some capacity have a decline, because if you keep Tony be the, you know, Tony that we've seen and loved and know for like the whole entire run that we've gotten with her with this character, it doesn't do anything for the character, because there has to be somewhat of a down point. And to use the words that Alice stated, Tony Storm needed to process all those things that happened, because the fact that she has treated Mariah with such love and care and respect for all these months, to be stabbed in the heart and in the back when she did what she did at the end of the women's Owen Hart final when she won, Tony has to process that, because character-wise, Tony always kept this weird avant-garde air about her, and the walls were up. She let it down for Mariah. Mariah took her chance, stabbed her in the heart and the back, and Tony has to come to terms with, you know, I can't believe I let her in and she destroyed me, and now I'm upset. But now she understands at this point what's important, which is this title. And so now she's going to bring everything she can to Mariah at All In, and which we saw at the end of this, Mariah was mad because she was expecting to fight a depressed Tony Storm. But this Tony Storm is now that I understand heartache, I processed heartbreak, and now I'm going to come for you, and I'm going to destroy everything that you hold dear. So you better be ready, because it's going to be a fight at All In, and this is the story I am the most excited for leading into All In, and this is probably the most anticipated match that I have. So that is where I'm coming from. But I understand your feelings of why you felt it dipped for you a little bit. But the difference between this and Swerve and Danielson has been like a month and a half of storytelling and feud. Mariah and Tony has been told for almost a whole entire year now. So,
and yet it's also still fresher than the stuff they've been telling for a month.
Yes. Anyways, that is my TED Talk. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. There has to be levels to a story. It can't just be the same level all the time. Then it's not interesting.
Yeah, Adolfo.
Yeah. I said what I said. I'm going to stand by it.
Yeah. I don't say you're wrong, but I'm giving my viewpoint, because I come from writing and storytelling.
I can't agree with everyone. I do agree, Adolfo, that it did kind of plateau a little bit, and it did. And they let it stall, which is not bad, but sort of a disservice to them. This promo could have done. They could have pushed this up a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago. But then we're kind of in a limbo of where we're going, how close we are. I see both sides of this, but I'm not going to get involved. I'm going to go over here and mute myself.
Yeah, I like the placement. I think this was good.
So then this brings us to our main event of the night, which is the Dark Acclaimed versus FTR.
Didn't we see this entire setup and payoff earlier in the night?
Yeah, we already talked about this. Didn't we talk about this already?
No,
Another schmoz if everyone comes out to get their things in?
Different show, guys. Different show.
No.
Different match.
Obviously not, because I mean, tag teams all have to get 17,000 people out on stage to break up a match. I mean,
but this was different because there were only 4 people.
And we had a time limit draw.
We had a time limit draw. Yep.
This match should have been 15 minutes. So it should have been 15 minutes.
Really quick. I just want to speak out before everyone starts lumping up on this match.
There it is. There it is.
And I'm probably alone on my island, and I'm happy. But the match itself was a fantastic match. It was just it was a slobber knocker. It held my attention. I was entertained. And when the time ended, I felt surprised when the time ended. I can tell I'm alone, but I will defend the match. I will defend this match. Go ahead. Come at me.
I'm just jumping on because I'm
chocolate cake too.
I'm on a similar island to Adolfo, and I'm biased because my son has never seen a time limit draw. So my son watched this and went, "What?" There's this loud scream that happens in the house. That can happen? It's like, yeah. It happens every now and then. No. So he was very upset, but enjoyed the match itself. So
I watch every other FTR match and just see every other time limit draw they go to.
I know, but he was happy.
It's good.
So,
Hurricane Alice is coming through though, so Hurricane Alice is going to wipe out the island. Give it a
Alice,
second.
go first, because me and you go tag team this because I know what side we're on, but I'm gonna have you have the floor first.
This match was far too long. This match should have been 15 minutes. Tell me that they don't let women's matches do this, right? They say, oh, you can have 20 minutes and then it's 8, right? Where's my timeout? Why are they getting this? Acclaimed should have won. They should have had the pin in 15 minutes. This should have been a done deal. This is garbage. This is lazy writing because we did a similar thing last week. Right? We did the trios thing, and then they, okay, Christian Cage, and he was mean, but they timed out, right? They timed out. Oh, now we got a four-way ladder match. Yay! Right? Now here, tag team, timed out. Now we have a triple threat. Yay! This is lazy. Doesn't feel good. Acclaim should have come in, wiped the floor with FTR, call it a night. And I think the reason you were entertained the entire match is because you spent some of it in the bathroom. That's why.
I bought you chocolate cake.
It's not my silence.
As we said, Hurricane Alice just wrecked that island and took it off the map.
Still think it was
Holy shit!
I'm going to tell my wife what was just said. Hang on.
We need a live reaction. We need a live reaction to this. Watch his face. Watch his face. Let's see. I think he's regaling her the whole story.
Yeah. So anyway, Mikey, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, I'm so enthralled with what Professor's doing.
There it is.
Oh my gosh, Alice, you are my number one. Okay, so now that Hurricane Alice has come through, it's my turn, and Spicy Mikey is here, right? So, so my beef with this whole entire match, right? On paper, I didn't hate the match itself, so that's where me and Alice differ a little bit. I didn't hate the match. I agree that we could have got 15 minutes, but I'm not mad. We got the time limit draw. My problem with this match is that you have been building the Acclaim to be the one to dethrone the Young Bucks. You had them be on Team AEW in Blood and Guts. They earned their stripes there when you had Max Caster get super kicked with tacks in his mouth, might I add, and Anthony freaking Bowens getting tossed through multiple tables on the outside of the cage, and they still won. So here I am. I was like, okay, cool. They won. So prior to this, they beat the Bucks in a non-title match. So that already gave them a, match to have. But now, post Blood and Guts, FTR has found their way into the storyline, whether it's through their own machinations or through, backstage and booking. But because FTR is supposedly the best tag team in the world, like, what I find very interesting is every shot that the Acclaim has made against FTR is kind of like, be like, ooh, damn, like you could tell that Anthony and Max are frustrated in character, and they're probably frustrated out of character because of the fact that they are the number one contenders. Why do they have to share this spot with FTR and make it a triple threat? They earned the right to face the Bucks, and because FTR got involved on the championship match on Wednesday, now we have a triple threat. Do I think the match is going to be fun? Probably. Like, I'm never going to complain when we get all these people. But to me, the whole point is that you have been building the Acclaim to be the next people to overthrow the Bucks. They've earned their stripes in Blood and Guts. They beat the Bucks the week before in a eliminator match and earned the right to be there. And then FTR is just like, found their way in here, got involved in the championship match on Dynamite. This went to a time limit draw, so now it is a triple threat at All In. This is what happens when you take a good story, good character development, and then the insertion of FTR in this match just throws all that 2-month, 3-month build we've had for the Acclaim out the window, because now the spotlight is being taken off them and being put back on, because everybody's now talking about, oh, we're getting Bucks and FTR again at Wembley, but the Acclaim is the one that's suffering. So why, and I'm also going to throw this out there, so be prepared, because this is my soapbox and I'm going to get on. Why is it that every time we have, challengers and we're building up POC wrestlers, they always get the spotlight taken off them? And that is what's happening to the Acclaimed here. You have 2 African Americans, and Max Caster, not to mention Anthony Bowens is openly gay. Like, that is an add to the dimension, and this is going to be fun. But the fact that you couldn't let these boys have this one-on-one match and have the spotlight just irritates the hell out of me. Oh, I'm so mad. That is my soapbox. I am done. It should have been just a one-on-one match. The match itself was fun. Hate the time limit draw. Hate that it is a triple threat. It's going to be fun. But FTR did not need to be a part of the storyline, because all that work is now thrown out the window of all the character development you have on the Acclaimed.
Correct.
Adolfo, I love you. But those are my feelings.
Oh, y'all did change my mind. I mean, I appreciate y'all's opinions. But
that's
y'all's
okay. You can be wrong.
Are your own. And I'm gonna sit here. And I'm gonna sit here.
Good, because now it's my turn. It's my turn. I'm just kidding. So, well, before we get into what's left to do this evening, how do we rate this week's AEW, y'all? Like, how do we feel about this programming this week?
Oof.
You know what? I'm gonna give this like a solid 6 out of 10 for me.
Like 6. Yeah.
Dynamite was okay. Rampage was fun. Collision was pretty decent until the ending. So I give this a 6 this week. Hopefully the go home shows do better.
I give it a 7. I mean, I didn't see Dynamite, but I was thoroughly entertained by Rampage, and I was thoroughly entertained by Collision. So the only thing that took it away from me is just like all this incessant Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland, who's gonna win stuff, and some of the other padded spots that didn't need to be there. So yeah, 7 out of 10. JVL.
I don't know what to do because this was just a hard week to give energy to, at least in Dynamite's side, because of the fact that like everything was all over the map and there were so many things that were just superfluous to the week. Yet there was great work in the ring. There was a lot of fun things that happened, and I don't want to give it like a 5 because it wasn't an average week, but it also wasn't a great week. So I'm sitting at like a 6.5, maybe. I'm leaving some on the table.
I'm kind of feeling the same way as everybody, and I can give my empanadas, and then I have to go help because it's the night before school, and I have to help do all the family things and things like that. So I'll have my picks later, I promise. I agree on paper and with the wrestling, all of these, because I got to watch Collision. Hey, I saw it. We should be in high 7, 8, 9 land, right? We're building towards our land. We're going someplace. Look at all the talent that's out here. We're kind of borrowing from other shows and things that we've already sort of done. We're still bearing ROH. You can't take that out of the equation. Like Alice has mentioned, you're still giving more time to the men for dumb shit and cutting time from the women who are doing better work. This is just happening too much. All of them, I mean, this is 6.5. It's approaching 7 for me because I kind of like some of these matches that I saw. And like I said, I'm biased because my son likes Collision now. He's over there on that side. There should be way more. This should be way higher looking at and seeing what we saw. But some of these promo packages are just bloated and I don't need them. And I get you have casuals. I get you have people who check in for these things. And I get you have to do this because people don't know. Trust your audience. The audience is smart. They'll figure it out. Humans.
So yeah, this was tough for sure.
Did Alice give? I want to hear what Alice thought.
I did. I agreed with Mikey. I'm giving it a 6.
Okay.
I think Rampage was far more entertaining than Collision, in my opinion. So like Rampage is really carrying that 6 for me. But yeah, I don't know. I have seen better weeks of wrestling than this past one.
Oof. Yikes.
All right, my friends. I will check in on your picks because I'm excited and I'm not going to cheat. I'll fill mine out now so you know that I didn't go, I wonder what they said. But I'm always wrong. And I'm going to end up wearing a onesie at the end of this. So I'm assuming
you might have to wear for multiple promotions, but more on that later.
That's all my wife heard this whole time was, ooh, onesie. Great. Oh, God. All right. I'll see y'all soon.
Later, Professor.
Bye.
Good. He's gone. I'm just kidding. So that was our week in AEW. So there's only one thing left to do, you guys. So now it is my time to shine.
Why is Adam Copeland on that photo?
I know, you guys. It's okay. I promise.
Why is Julia Hart on there? Why is John Moxley on there? What the hell?
Listen,
Dude,
this is the post.
Are they spoiling All In before?
None of them are cleared to come back. Like it's
This was the poster that I grabbed like a long time ago, and we're sticking with it. I'm not updating it, so forget all that noise. But the last thing we're going to do is I sent the AEW crew in the group chat the Google form in order to, do picks as we go along. So we're going to do these picks on air. I am not winning All In because, there's a lot of picks that nobody agrees with, but that's okay. Let's go. All right. So let's start with 0 Hour because I'm still mad that this is on 0 Hour.
Yeah.
I'm mad that this is on 0 Hour.
I'm really mad that this is on 0 Hour also. It's in the other chat, babe.
In the AEW group chat.
I'm sorry.
It's okay if you filled it out. So did I. I filled it out as soon as I sent it to. So I already picked my picks. But we're going to start with 0 Hour. This is, again, I am mad that this is on 0 Hour. But this has been the most interesting story that is not around a championship yet when it comes to the women's division, because Willow and Chris hate each other, and it's always magic when these two go up against each other. I just wish that they were given a main card spot on the card and not always on 0 hour.
There's stuff that's on this card that shouldn't be on the main card, but we'll as we go along.
So the stipulation for this match, this is an intergender tag team match. Willow Nightingale and the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii taking on the team of Saturday Night Fever, Chris Statlander, and Stokely Hathaway. Winner gets to pick the stipulation for Willow and Chris's match at All Out in 2 weeks. This was a no-brainer for me. I am picking Team Chris and Stokely because what's probably going to happen is Chris wins to pick the stipulation and Willow's going to beat her at All Out to retain that championship. So I have Team Chris and Stokely for this one.
Yes,
Same.
I agree.
Nope. I got Willow and Ishii.
Oh God, here we go.
That island's getting ravaged over there. It's weird.
So this is, yeah. So we have one dissenter. That is okay. That's what makes these predictions fun. So we're going to, as of right now, this is the only match that is on 0 hour, but day of, they'll add like 15 more matches on 0 hour, as AEW tends to do. But we're going to move on to the main card. And if I remember correctly, we're going to work our way backwards because, yeah, we're going to go in order of what's on the form. So we're going to go, let's see. There we go. Again, AEW, you need to put all your you need to put the match cards like on one site as they get announced, because I'm tired of going to like 50 different Twitter accounts to find them. And this was the best one I could find because there was no landscape one. But let's start off with the London's ladder match for the AEW World Trios Championship match. We have our champions, the Patriarchy, defending these titles against the Bang Bang Gang, the House of Black, and a to-be-determined team, which we'll find out on Saturday Collision to see who goes into this ladder match. So, okay. This is where things are going to go off the rails really quick because I'm using my heart in this one, and I am going with House of Black, especially given the fact that House of Black has been the #1 contenders for the longest time at this point. My same issue that I've had with the Acclaim also goes to the House of Black. The only difference is that they wrote Buddy Matthews off because he got married to Mommy Rhea Ripley, and they were on honeymoon and fun stuff like that. So I was just like, I'm jealous. But anyways, I'm going with my heart on this one. Are House of Black going to win? Probably not, but would I love it to see it? Yes. Yes, I would. So I'm going with House of Black just because I want to see good things for them finally.
House of Black.
Patriarchy.
I picked the same as you, JBL.
Yes.
I'm not happy about it.
Neither am I at all.
Want House of Black to win so bad.
That's my heart.
But I think Patriarchy is going to retain.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Whatever. Okay. So we're going to move on to this. And now we just talked about this.
Sorry, what?
So we have a triple threat for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, which should have been a one-on-one match. But we have FTR versus the Young Bucks versus the Acclaim. Once again, I have picked out of spite and my heart on this one. I have gone with the Acclaimed. So I'm going with the Acclaimed. Like, they deserve this win more than anything else. So Acclaimed all the way, baby.
Acclaimed.
Bucks.
Everyone loves the Acclaimed.
No, I hate them.
But I think the Bucks are winning because they made it a triple threat. If it was a one-on-one, they were losing, but now they've added in all this other stuff. I think the Bucks are taking it.
Yeah,
fine, whatever. All right, let's talk about the match everyone Yeah, let's talk about the match that everyone wanted to see.
Good.
Nobody wants to see this match, but for the FTW Championship,
why is this not on 0 hour? This should be on 0 hour.
This should be on 0 hour. Swap this. Swap it now. Again, just because I'm voting out of spite for this one, I have Hook. Hopefully we have a Samoa Joe and a Shibata run-in, but Chris Jericho is probably going to win, but I refuse to do anything with Chris Jericho, so I am happy to take the loss on this one if he retains, but I am going with Hook on this one.
Hook.
Jera, no.
Yeah, Jera, no. I don't want him to have the championship anymore, but I just can't see Hook taking it from him.
Nope.
He's not strong enough in the ring.
Or on the mic or anywhere else.
Or on the mic or anywhere to hold the championship yet. Got a lot of work to do still.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore. So let's move on. The sheer disappointment that this build has been because somebody got suspended for a week. Again, we could spend a whole podcast talking about that. But we have our TBS championship, Mercedes Moné versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I love Britt. I want her to win, but she's not. I have Mercedes Moné retaining because of Camille shenanigans. And hopefully this is where we see the return of Jamie Hayter. I want to be the biggest hater on the planet. Give me Jamie Hayter, please. But I have Mercedes retaining this one.
Yep.
I have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Oh, okay.
I've got Mercedes, but I need to drink the Haterade.
I think Jamie Hayter may come out and interfere and disable Camille, which would give Britt Baker the pin.
Ooh. I would love nothing more to see Britt hold this title. We'll see what happens because this is gonna be shenanigans. Alrighty, so what's next? Do I have? Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Alrighty, so what, in my opinion, has to be the worst build for any match at All In because it's been very one-sided. But we have for the TNT Championship or the House of Torture Championship now. We have Jack Perry defending his title against Darby Allin in a coffin match. This one's easy to pick. I have Jack Perry retaining because there's no way in AEW's mind that they would let Darby win when he has a guaranteed AEW World Championship shot at Glam in September. So, like, Darby has a World Championship match at Grand Slam, so I have Jack Perry winning this one.
This could also be on 0 Hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Jack Perry because we had arts and craft time with Jack Perry, and I respect that belt that he made.
Jack Perry for the memes.
Alice, I'm assuming Jack Perry too.
Yeah, I picked Jack Perry.
The excitement in your voice.
I'm not.
So we're going to move on from the least built of men's match to probably the best one that we have, which is crazy to say. Look, this is the most television time that this is the feud that gets the most TV time out of everything. And for some of us, we know what's going on because it's also happening in other promotions as well. But for the AEW American Championship, champion MJF defending his title against the turncoat, as he calls him, Will Ospreay. God, I would love nothing more than Will to win this, but I have MJF retaining. There is no way. There's no way he's losing this here because I would love nothing more than Pac to beat him, but that's not also going to happen. But that's for an all-out predictions video. But I have MJF winning here in Wembley.
Yep. Next.
Next.
Cool. Easy pickings. Ooh, how can I almost forget that one? All right, now we're going to get into our final two matches. This is the one that I've been waiting for so long. And honestly, this is the best one in my opinion. God, I don't know what to do here. I've still been going back and forth on this. But for the AEW Women's World Championship, we have Timeless Toni Storm defending her title against the Owen Hart Foundation winner on the women's side, Mariah May. You guys, I've went back and forth. I still don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, these are the best types of matches because you made me believe that it can truly go either way for me. But with that being said, Tony, you have been the best women's character and the best women's wrestler of 2024 and even back in 2023. But I am selecting Mariah May to be the one to dethrone Tony here because I think this would be a really good way to reward Mariah for all the work she's put in. And it is a fun story to have heel Mariah May hold this title and have Toni Storm go back to chasing it, because chasing Toni Storm is a lot of fun. So the timeless one is irreverent, but I have Mariah winning this one.
Chin tits shoe, baby.
Of course.
I have timeless retaining, yeah.
I'm going Mariah May.
We're at stalemate. This is crazy. But see, I like that it is, because really it could truly go either way. I do not know.
I still want what I said earlier. I want them to reach the time limit, and I want them to all realize that they're both wonderful wrestlers, and that Mina's going to come out, that they're all going to be friends. That's what I want.
Friendship. And it turns into an episode of My Little Pony.
Yes, exactly. Friendship is the real magic.
My little Tony, my little Tony.
All right, next.
I love it. All righty, last one, and what's probably main eventing all in.
Wait a minute.
This is about to be all crazy.
This is a match? I didn't know this was a match.
I know. There's been no build to this.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Swerve and who?
A lot of talking.
I thought it was going to be Jeff Jarrett.
Oh my gosh. So, in what has now been dubbed as a title versus career match, we have, for the AEW World Championship, our champion Swerve Strickland defending his title against the men's Owen Hart tournament winner, Bryan Danielson Bryan. Again, this can go either way. I'm going to ruffle some feathers here. I think Swerve winning would push the rocket on that kid so high, and I think he deserves it. But knowing AEW, I have to go with Danielson here. I think he's going to dethrone Swerve, but it's not going to be clean, because I think Hangman finds a way to get involved in this, because Hangman's still running out there, and he might be in the gauntlet match to see who gets another championship shot. But I smell a Hangman coming in to cost Swerve a title win. So I think Danielson is winning this one and becomes your new AEW World Championship, or champion, I should say.
For the first time, because everyone's like, oh, when Danielson came in, he said he didn't want championships. He blah, 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 blah. So for the first time, I'm actually not going with Bryan Danielson. I'm going with Swerve Strickland.
I would love Swerve to win, but again, I don't know, because it could go either way.
I mean, it could, but there's also like so much behind this, like real life behind the scenes stuff. Is it a work? Is it not a work? We don't know. But for right now, it seems like it's real. You know, his neck injury, he's got to go for surgery. The promise to his kid, blah 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 blah. That I feel like it's going to be a great match, but Swerve is going to come out with the W.
I think it would be silly to let Bryan Danielson win. So I'm Swerve.
And I'm going Swerve because Hangman wants him to have the title so he can take it.
Yeah.
He's going to help
That's
him.
not so fair. Again, any plethora of things can happen, and who knows? It may not even be Hangman. It might be somebody else we don't suspect, but like, this is what happens when you have too many like number one contenders. You already have Darby waiting in the wings, and then whoever wins this gauntlet match at All In 2 also gets a championship match. So I'm just like, you have too many challengers right now. So we'll see what happens in all this. But that brings us to the end of this week's AEW review. Obviously, we didn't do predictions for the gauntlet match because the only person that we know is in there for certain is Orange Cassidy. He is starting at number 1. Spoiler alert, I do not believe Orange is winning this gauntlet match. That'd be hilarious if he is, but I don't see him winning. So therefore, we can't do a pick because we don't know who's involved. But that is going to be it for us here at All Elite Ensemble. This was a 2-hour episode. My God, there's a lot of editing I've got to do later. Just kidding. This was fun. So this is going to be weird because Monday we are reviewing All In, and then Tuesday we are reviewing all the go-home shows leading into All In, which, hey, you know what? It could be a whole retrospective. Did the go-home shows and All In live up to the hype? Which is going to be a fun conversation. But here's what to expect the rest of this week before we sign off. Tomorrow evening, you will see Los Lobos de la Lucha, where El Buntador, Papa Oso, and myself will be reviewing all the CMLL action leading into this International Grand Prix happening this Friday, which makes me super excited. On Friday, you have ROH and TNA as we're doing crazy things too. And then on Saturday, make sure that you tune in because Andrew, myself, and whoever else wants to join us is going to be doing a live watch along of GCW Homecoming Night 1, where our main event is probably going to be that triple threat ladder match for the GCW championship between Mance of Warner, Blake Christian of ROH fame. So shout out to Blake for being in this match. And, it's just that whole match is going to be crazy between Mance, Blake, and Joey Janela. Like, they're about to kill each other. It's going to be fantastic. And, next week we got All In and a plethora of other pay-per-views because they all crammed them into 1 week. Jesus Christ, what is happening? But that is going to be it for us here at All Elite Ensemble. So as always, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, but more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you later this week and next week. But until then, sayonara, adios, and Billy Stark's outro.
Billy Stark's outro.
Bleh.